after decades on the path, is sometimes difficult for me, or a bit complex or challenging, to answer when someone who is new to the path or has recently started asks me what is the best way to achieve spiritual liberation. And what I mean by liberation is finding peace within you and without you. You make peace with life, with the world, with yourself. You remain dynamic, active, you know your path, but you move now in a different way. You are not at war with life, but you flow with life, and you find who you truly are. You find that inner treasure that was always within you. So, knowing your true self and rising above the illusory self, the ego. I am this nation, I am this particular group of people, it's me against them. I am the anger I feel towards my partner, towards my family, towards people. I suffer because of what people said and so forth. So this I that is formed particularly by the conditions that the world throws in our way. So rising above this and finding out that we are pure being, pure awareness, and there is a feeling in that of love and of peace, of inner peace. It's nothing that you go shouting about, oh look, I'm so like this. Matter of fact, if anything, you become fairly quiet, because it's quite an humbling experience or sets of experiences. So what is it that could bring us there? Not to a kundalini, not to flashes of light, not to hearing phrases or people somewhere talking to us. That's not what I'm talking. Those are just psychic experiences, most often than not produced by our own brain. But what I'm talking about is realizing your true nature, what's beyond these waves that always catch us and define our reality, and then suddenly we realize, no, we are the lake. And I like to bring this image, like for example, you are observing this lake and you are at oneness. You know, you are one with the waters, you are hovering over the waters. And there are these waves that form within the lake. So they're not something apart from the lake, they're not something that come from an extra dimension. They're just within the wave, and at first you just admire them, because they are all universes that happen. But the moment comes where we forget who we truly are, that we are the awareness of it, and we get caught. That is the mystery of life, the Maya, the illusion. We get caught and we get sucked in, and then we get into a whirlwind, you know, of identifications. And then there is a slow path to come out of this whirlwind. I am not my hatred, this is not me, this is not I, this is not mine, I'm not my frustration. I am not going to fulfill myself by having the adoration of the masses or by having millions of pounds. I am blissful within myself, being myself. So you realize that you are the presence into which this happens. So it's not that you do something cruel and you smash these waves in which you got caught, because after all they are just a part of you as well. So you welcome them home like your children, with affection, with love, saying, there, you know, it wasn't real. This is who I truly am. So, and very often we don't get there because of these desires of Kundalini, of experiences. We just get caught in another dimension instead of really truly going back to our being. So, how do we discover who we truly are? This awareness, this immense love that is within us? How do we go back home to the lake or to the ocean? In which we can still then remain who we are, but it's in a different way, because yes, we can still remain a wave, but this wave knows where to go home to. So some of the main traditions that were somehow helping us to go home, in the West, you can say probably in Middle East, there were the Gnostics. I would say there were the Nazarenes, the early disciples of Jesus, the Ebionites, the Vedantins in India, the oneness philosophy, who am I, the question, who am I? And I would say Buddhism, Buddhism is not so much realizing your true self, but it still happens automatically because it's more about releasing your identification, your false self. So that automatically goes to the true self. So the Buddha didn't want to talk much about the true self for fear that people were starting to build another image, but it's about letting go the identification, and then you see what is to be within the Buddha mind. So if we look at these three traditions, and to some extent let's put as well some of the Greeks, and then at a later stage I would say psychoanalysis was also very useful, some schools of psychoanalysis in releasing the weight that was pulling us down. So the Gnostics, let's start with the Gnostics. They were very similar to the Vedanta. The Gnostic was very much in what, according to them, was the true teaching of Jesus. I and the Father are one. But it was said in the sense that, and so are you. And I have come to show you the way to become one with the Father. Soon after saying I and the Father are one, he said something to that effect. And that's going back into your heart, living the life that he promulgated on the Sermon of the Mount, those beautiful, this is my word, this is the word you have to follow, these are my commandments. Don't hold hatred in your heart, don't meditate if you have hatred, or pray if you have hatred in your heart against your brother. Go and make peace first, even if you don't go to them, but within yourself. So don't have hatred, don't be greedy, don't hold resentment. Live a life which is filled with kindness. Move in peace. Try to bring peace amongst people. So as you enter into a certain dimension that then leads you to inquire as your true essence, and you discover that the Christ is within you. And that's what Jesus was pointing to. The Vedanta is a similar path because it's very much about inquire as to who I am. In modern time it was very much promulgated by a wonderful mystic called Ramana Maharishi. Who am I? Who am I? And by going deep within yourself, you discover slowly that you are not that I you thought you were. That was only a small part of it. And then you discover that sense of I, this awareness of I, comes because you are a manifestation, a part of that original, primordial awareness. You see, and that's where really your I comes. So this I is just peace and love. Even in the midst of suffering, of pain, where all kind of many things can happen in life, but somehow that peace comes back to you. Even when sometimes you you forget it, you know, because of your difficulties and so forth. But in one way or another, sooner or later, it comes back to you. So there is a sense of devotion, like in Christianity, in the Gnostic and original Ebionite and Nazarene Christianity. There is that sense of dedication, of love. You know, Jesus spoke a lot about that love, and that love that is within you, the kingdom of heaven. Here, yeah, is within you, and it's love. And you enter it as a seed that grows, and that seed is his words, are the commands he gave us on the Sermon of the Mount. So you have the prayer he gave, where you feel closer to the Father, who is just another name for your true self, that is your point of origin. So you have the prayer, you live according to a beautiful word, you know, which is the Sermon of the Mount, and you inquire, you search within you for that seed that is growing, and that seed has got the love of the Christ within, and it's within you. Beautiful journey, isn't it? I've spoken a little bit in other videos, but we will talk about it quite a bit more. And as I said, the Vedanta is quite similar. You know, it's very much meditating, going back into the origins where this I comes from. Not the body, not the mind, not the thought. There is still something there. When my thought goes quiet, there is presence. And then suddenly the drop goes back to the ocean. Ah, that is where that I comes from. Now, the Buddhist way is very dear to me because in my path I've had elements of Gnosticism and Vedanta, but mindfulness of Buddhism has been tremendously important. And you'll see in my playlist, there is a whole playlist on the levels of mindfulness and stages of mindfulness that you can practice. And mindfulness is about relaxing your body, relaxing your breath, going into that tranquility, but most importantly, later on, starting to become aware of your feelings. You know, anger arising, then you become aware of your mental patterns. And your mental patterns is what governs your life, my life, our life. You know, we have certain attitudes, certain ways to always get angry, to react in particular ways. Huge subject. And sometimes for some people it's not essential, but for some people an analytical process can help this process of mindfulness in better understanding yourself and then letting go what brings you down, maybe things from your childhood and so forth. But already in mindfulness, you have this beautiful process, you know, of understanding your mind, and by releasing what contracts you, then your true self appears. Of course, for people that need to proceed slowly and by stages, there are process of concentration in the sense that you use prayer or you use mantra, you use a particular sound that calms the mind. It could be in any language which is suitable to you, but by following this sound, you know, you begin to enter the stages of where you are more at peace and quieter within yourself. One thing that I like to tell you though, be very mindful of this thing. Don't be too worried about stopping your mind. Liberation is not about stopping your mind. Is understanding your mind better and understanding your nature and understanding your true nature. So don't spend all your time fighting about having an experience and just concentrating on one thing. You see, so it's about making friends with yourself, understanding yourself, and then allowing your nature to merge. Now, a very important aspect which we'll deepen a bit more later on is, do these moments where, let's say, we have certain openings of understanding, what the Mahayana Buddhists call satori. Is it something that just happens all at once? There's nothing you can do, as some people in the West claim. You know, you just go to the lectures and maybe if you're lucky while you're in a lecture something will happen. Or is it something that occurs slowly? It's a very good question. It is both. It is both in the sense that you must cultivate the seed, as Jesus says. You know, it is something that you nurture, that you water at all times. Then, of course, there could be certain moments of, aha, this is who I am. This is reality. And those are quite sudden. They're quite spontaneous. It's true. However, you have been preparing the ground all the time for it. And there is one thing that arises just when you start on the path of spirituality, and which is there after moments of liberation and which is there even afterwards, is a certain peace which is within. So at the end, I even give more importance to this peace within than to the satoris, which I find very important and very, very beautiful, and is a deepening of that peace. So don't live your life hoping. Don't go to lectures paying money hoping that something is going to happen to you. You know, because then you live in a duality. You live split. It's not okay who I am now. I have to wait for something to happen to be okay. No, the moment you enter into the path, the moment that you choose peace in your life as much as possible, you are already, you know, receiving something very, very important, and your life is beginning to flower straight away. So don't spend your life waiting for something to happen. Start living it now. Even if you haven't had an enlightenment of some sort, you know, living at peace with yourself now, you know, that's the most important step of liberation. And then that once you accept that peace, which I hope you are doing, then it will come to visit you again and again. Sometimes it might come in waves and disappear for a while. Just open to it. Just observe what brings you away from that peace, what you are doing maybe that is creating conflict within yourself. Be observant and then let it go and go back to it. Now, which one of these paths should you be following primarily? You see, that is the beauty of nature. That's the beauty of the divine. That's the beauty of all being different. The truth is the way you live. The truth is the love you carry within you, and that you don't choose a life of lies. That is the truth. It's not to live lies. And being sincere, you know, so it's a state of being, it's not a belief. So if you have that state of being, if then you find yourself just being very devotional, then you can choose a way where there is more prayer, more dedication, more giving of yourself. Or you can be somebody instead who is more inquiring, who am I, you know, and goes looking within itself. Or you have someone who is more prone to mindfulness. So, you know, you calm, you breathe in, you breathe out, you let go, and you become aware, you know, of the various layers of your own being. You might be someone who likes to have some analysis and understand its past and so forth. That you have to work at and you have to find within yourself. But I like to tell you, don't tire in the path. Don't do it thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to do it. Next week, I want to be totally liberated, totally blissful, totally happy. You are being greedy if you think that way. Just do it. There is never a bad meditation. There are just some meditations that are different from others. But you'll be surprised sometimes. You know, you have maybe a busy, agitated mind in many, many meditations over and over and over. And then one day, when you're less expected, you suddenly start realizing that a certain level of peace starts creeping in. Don't get attached to it, just keep letting go, and you will find it, you know, like a little cat that slowly comes to you, you know, and then at the end settles over your belly. It will happen the same. So it's about discovering your path, about making your own path, realizing which are the things that work better. But ultimately, even if exteriorly this path seems different, my path is different than yours and so forth, you will find that they are very similar. What I find myself is I can very happily talk to a scientific atheist and reach to a very beautiful spiritual state of being just by talking how everything is interconnected in the universe, how everything is coming from the same energy and going back to the same energy, and everything is just a quantum wave, which is true. It's not a mystical assertion, it's a fact. And I can, when I talk to a Christian, yes, I cannot go with them into those that believe, you know, you just say, oh, I believe in this and everything, all your karma goes and you are enlightened. Because in my experience, that's not how it works. However, when I meet a Christian who is keen on the word of Jesus, I know he is on the good path. A Christian that really reads the Gospels more than other aspects of the New Testament or Bible. And a Christian that believes in the Sermon of the Mount, in what Jesus says, that's the only path. You know, if you don't follow the path of love and charity, I will deny you. There is no way you will go close to my Father. So when I'm with a Christian, I can just go into devotion of the word of Jesus. With the Vedanta, let's go for it. Who am I? Let's go at inquiry. With a psychoanalyst let's just talk about what is a free mind, a mind that is free from the past. And of course, something I'm quite close to, Buddhism, just going to the various phases of releasing the past, being in the presence, and going back to that childlike Buddha state, without an ego at the center of it. So, of course, there are many more paths and so forth, but those are, I hope I've been able to communicate some of the main schools and how you can find your way through them, how you can explore, and by finding your path, then your way sometime can accelerate because you're going the right way. If it's really the path in your heart, then when you follow it, you're going in the right direction. So I hope this short talk has been of some use to you. We will make some more videos on this subject, And I'm planning, probably in the near future, to start some, streaming where we can a bit talk to one another, and you can put questions and we can see if together we can come to a solution and an answer that enhances you. So, subscribe if you like, and so I can send you notifications when that might be happening, and hope to see you soon. Thanks for listening.